Good evening. Welcome to our City Council regular meeting. Calexico City Council, Calexico Redevelopment, Successors as Agency, and Calexico Financing Authority. This meeting is being called to order.
Mayor Ariola Fernandez.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryson.
Here.
Councilmember Pacheco.
Here.
Councilmember Garcia.
Here.
Councilmember Hodge.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mayor.
Okay. Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Pacheco, will you lead?
Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mission statement.
Together, we pledge to provide effective and efficient services in a courteous and respectful manner to improve the quality of life for all in our unique water community. Viva Calexico.
I will. Dear Lord, bless this meeting today, all those present, as well as the lives of those we encounter afterward. Ready us to make every moment count. In the name of the Lord, amen.
Amen.
Closed session announcement.
Thank you, Mayor. City Council went in closed session on the 4 items described on the agenda. We received direction on those items, but no reportable actions were taken. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Mayor Ariola Fernandez.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryson.
Here.
Councilmember Pacheco.
Aye.
Councilmember Garcia.
Aye.
Councilmember Hodge.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay. Presentations. Recognition of the following fire and police officers for the Life Saving Act Fire Winsley Knowlton. Paramedic Joel Rivera. Paramedic Captain EMT Raul Canazales. Captain Paramedic Arnold Rivera. Police officers Miguel Carvajal, Miguel Gonzalez, Anthony Aguirre, Daniel Perdomo.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and people here and the general audience. Bienvenidos a todos, buenas noches. So what happened, ma'am, is today Mr. Gabriel Trujillo wants to recognize all the people you mentioned for saving his life. On May 3rd, on a Sunday in the afternoon, Mr. Gabriel Trujillo and Mr. Bill Hodge, because of the coronavirus, wanted to show their appreciation to members of the police department and apparently probably the fire department too. And they were bringing some food over in the afternoon when Mr. Gabriel Trujillo suffered a heart attack in the process. The officers that were there receiving the gifts that they were bringing from the food were Sergeant Acuña's teams, were Miguel Carvajal, Michael Gonzalez, Anthony Aguirre, and Daniel Perdomo. These gentlemen reacted quickly and they started CPR while the ambulance was called, the fire department was called. At that point, Wesley Knowlton, who's a paramedic, Joel Rivera, paramedic, Captain, EMT, he's an engineer? EMT. Raul Canizales and Captain Paramedic Arnold Rivera arrived, and they took over the advanced life-saving efforts on Mr. Trujillo. Mr. Trujillo was flown to Desert Regional Medical Center, and as he was telling us in the right now in the back is that he was unconscious from Sunday all the way till Friday. He made a recovery, and he feels that he has to recognize these fine gentlemen for doing, going above and beyond, and in saving his life with the first aid and CPR that they provided, and the advanced life support. So Mr. Trujillo wants to come forward, and the officers that I mentioned, can you please come forward too? The paramedics are right now, the ambulance crews are working right now. So Chief Favila was saying that they were at the El Centro Regional transporting a patient. They were trying to get out here. Can you guys, yeah, why don't you, I mean, Mayor, you don't mind if they go up front, right?
Nope.
Okay.
Photo.
So, Mr. Gabriel Trujillo, the microphone is yours, but before we do that, we have to write down.
Thank you, Chief. Members of the City Council, Officers Miguel Carvajal, Michael Gonzalez, Anthony Aguirre, and Daniel Perdomo, to say nothing of the least of Sergeant Acuna, also paramedics Wesley Knowlton and Joel Rivera that are not here, Captain Raul Cardenas, Captain Paramedic Arnold Rivera. I will forever be in your debt. Because of what you guys did, I still have a chance to make amends to my children. I still have a chance at life, and I still have a chance to amend the mistakes that I have made in my life. I cannot say enough about your guys' dedication, about the sacrifices you guys make to keep us safe, and how you carry yourselves in an honorable and a professional manner. Sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, you will always be in my thoughts, you will always be in my prayers, and I will always pray that God always sees you guys home. Thank you for saving my life. On my behalf, guys, I'm giving this to the chief, and hopefully you guys place it in a place where you guys can be reminded of the life that you guys saved, so that you guys are ever in the line of duty. You guys think about how I feel about you guys.
So, this is and it reads really fast. It says, presented to the Calexico Police Department. Thank you for saving my life. May God bless you all. Gabriel Trujillo. And thank you very much, gentlemen. Make you proud. And we'll do this. And we'll do this. So, in a real quick, just, and I'll make it short, I promise. After Gabriel recovered, Mr. Hodge and Gabriel called me, and they had a mission that day, and that mission was not fulfilled. So they asked me if they can go back and do what they wanted to do, and they actually went back and on Sergeant Acuña's birthday, took him food, and this time, you know. Yeah, this time it was successful. It was a joke, you know. Gabriel and I get along pretty good, so I told him that I want to know what time and place so I can have the paramedics ready just in case. Gabriel's a great guy, so I mean, thank God he's here. Thank you guys for putting up with me talking up here, and you guys go back to work.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Let me give this to the fire chief. Let me give this.
Oh, one for the fire department.
Although Wesley is not here, Joel Rivera or Captain Raul Cardenas and Captain Arnold Rivera, thank them on my behalf, Chief. And please tell them what I said, that because of what they did, I have a chance to make amends for the mistakes I made in my life. That I also have a chance to look forward at hopefully, a life living in according to what God has told me to live. From the bottom of my heart, thank you, and thank your men, okay?
And just real quick, like Wes Knowlton is the paramedic that actually does the in-house training for the PD on CPR. And so, I mean, he's the one that taught my guys how to do it, and my officers, because we do have some females too. So thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, members of the City Council. Thank you, Member Pro Tem, for allowing me to make this presentation. Thank you, Mrs. Garcia.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, we are now going to have coronavirus COVID-19 update by Police Chief Gerardo and Fire Chief Diego Javila.
Good evening, Honorable City Council, City Manager, City Attorney, all the staff that's here on a Wednesday night, and always to our customers, thank you for watching us on our via the Zoom or on our Facebook account. Thank you for support. Obviously, I'm receiving this honor for from Gabriel Trujillo for my men. The team that was providing the advanced life support for him is actually the team that is working right now, and they're doing exactly the same thing that Mr. Trujillo is giving this medal for. They're currently at the hospital, and they are basically doing the same thing again, another heart attack, and they're at the hospital. So I will make sure that they get this, and I will send Mr. Gabriel Trujillo's regards. So today's update for COVID, I'll start off with our numbers. The total cases for this, and this is for the city of Calexico, okay? Total cases for city of Calexico is 3,669. The active cases are 99. And my favorite number is the recovered. That's 3,458 with 112 deaths. Some of the other updates on COVID is our tier. Remember, we still remain in the purple tier. We were hopefully to be out of it. We were really close. I'm happy to say that. We have two metrics. It can kind of be confusing. You have the state metrics that puts us at 9.2, and then you have the county metrics that puts us at 12.52, right? And that's for case rate for new cases. On the positivity rate, the state has a 8.7, and our county is 9.41. So why the discrepancy? The discrepancy for this is not all of our clinics or doctor's office or the labs process everything electronic. So the state gets the numbers from the labs and the doctors that do send them electronically, and they get theirs. There's not a big difference. The other discrepancy is that we also include the prison inmates are also included into this. So what does this mean for us? It means that obviously the numbers that go to the state are the ones that we are following. So if you see we're at 9.2, our goal is 4.7, 4 to 7. We're pretty close. We're pretty close to that. Our positivity rate is 8.7. We need to be at 8. So we are almost there. So whatever we are doing, let's continue to do that. October 21st is the date that the border restriction is to be lifted. And hopefully that happens unless it's extended, which we should receive next week if they're going to extend it or not. But as of right now, October 21st is the date.
Fully open.
Yes. Testing sites. The city of Calexico, we remember we had a COVID testing site here at our community center. That is now closed. That was closed October 2nd. So the testing sites that are available right now is at the Brawley Senior Center. Okay, and that will be there till November 30th. Some of the other great news for us here is we were able to open the salons now for the nails. So I know there's a lot of females that are happy to get that taken care of.
Toes.
Yeah, the toes. Another great thing that's happening right now is that the public and private schools between from kindergarten to 6th grade, they are now allowed to apply for a waiver with the county, hopefully to be able to return to school. So that's pending right now. And all those applications, they were being accepted on October 5th. That's when they started getting those applications. Another thing that we're trying to push here is the flu shot. There's going to be a couple flu clinics that will be disseminated to us. I'll make sure that you guys are aware of it, as well as our customers or the citizens, that they know where to go for that. And I think that's pretty much what we have on the COVID update. You guys have any questions for us?
Any questions?
So, testing sites. So we don't have any local here besides the private providers?
Yes, sir, just the private providers, and the one that the county was running here at the community center is no longer up. And that's just not because on our end, just because we weren't having enough people showing up for the test, so it makes no sense to keep it open if we're not getting the clientele. All right, with nothing said, thank you guys.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. Okay. Enrique Kiki Camarena Library presentation by Librarian Manager Lisette Legaspi. Hi, Lisette.
Hi. Good evening, members of the City Council, city staff, and those virtual viewers. Lisa Legaspi, Library Manager. Basically, I just want to give you a brief update on our reopening plans and inform you what's happening at the library, since the library doors are not open to the public. There you go. Okay, so the library closed its doors in March, but we have not stopped providing services to our community. As Mr. Figueroa mentioned last council meeting, we have created a roadmap to reopening. We want to make sure that we have protocols set in place to ensure safety for staff and the public. We want to make sure, obviously, that we're following state and county guidelines. We have also drafted a code of conduct that will help guide our users once they are allowed back into the building to keep us and keep them safe at the same time. We are looking at a phased reopening. So once we reopen, we're not gonna reopen and offer allow everybody to go in. It has to be obviously a certain amount of people. Probably we're just gonna allow people to use computers, a certain number of people using computers, by appointment and stuff like that. So, as I said, we have not stopped serving the community even though the doors to the library are closed. We have resumed our after-school snack offering once a week. Thanks to a continuous partnership with the Calexico Neighborhood House, we are able to provide families with kids 1 to 18 years of age a snack once a week, and they get the snack for 5 days, the snack for 5 days. One of the positive, I guess, among this negativity, obviously, of this situation is that our virtual programs have crossed state lines and the border. Because we are able to offer our programs virtually, We have families. We have a family that from Richmond, Virginia, attending our story times. We have a family from Mexico City attending. We have many families from Mexicali attending as well. Some of them, by the time they have a break from school, instead of taking their break, they join our story time and then they let us know, you know what, I have to go back to school. So they log off and go back to their classes. So that gives us a lot of pride, and it seems that what we're doing is people are liking it. Another one of our offerings is an online story time where it's a little bit different from a regular story time. This online story time, we have had special guests. Councilmember Hodge was one of them during the summer who read to the kids. We had DP Duck talk about water safety from the DP Duck from Imperial Irrigation District. And during online story time, we share the online resources we have available at the library so that they get exposed to them. A wonderful addition is Coach Jamie Shu from the Calexico Recreation Department. We're collaborating, and Recreation Department is lending us Coach Shu, Jamie Shu for a few minutes so that she can put kids to exercise. That has been very well received by those that are attending. So we basically transform all of our programs into a virtual. We have our Crafty Tuesdays. We put up together craft packets that families can come and pick up, and then we meet over Zoom, and we create the activity together. The English as a second language class is also meeting via Zoom. They meet 3 times a week, and the conversation class has been ongoing back since March. Our reference librarian is offering wonderful STEAM activities the kids enjoy. Always pairing up with the book, always trying to promote books and reading in everything that we do. Also, we're serving our teens. We move most of our teen programming to Instagram because it seems that is what is popular among teens. So we have book talks that we do once a month, and we started an anime manga club. They meet and they talk about manga, and then they meet over Zoom and draw together and share techniques and stuff like that. Now, I want to take this opportunity to remind everyone of the importance of getting the library card. A library card is the smartest card you can have in your wallet. We have continued issuing library cards to all Imperial Valley residents. So library cards, even though you live in El Centro or any other city in the valley, you can get a library card from us. Or the application is online, it's on our website. They can either email it, drop it off at the library, mail it. We'll get it back to you. Now, since the schools are not able to provide accelerated reading, an accelerated reading program is a program that the local schools, at least Calexico School District, offers to make sure kids are not just reading, but they're really comprehending what they're reading. We don't want kids to lose their reading skills, so we created this service called Book Bundles, where people can just request a book bundle for my first grader. If they know their reading level, they can give us the reading level. If they don't, just, as a first grader, or a kindergartner, or a college student. And we incorporate fiction and nonfiction books and different types of materials just to keep them reading. We just started last week, the last week in September, and just the first week we created 31 book bundles. So 310 books left the building just that week. We continue creating book bundles this week, so we're very happy that it has been a service that the community has liked. Now, not everybody is into Zoom. Not everybody wants to be on a computer or talking to strangers over a computer. So for those that are those more vulnerable population, 55 years old and over, we created this vintage club in which obviously we want to promote reading. We want to promote books, but we also want to promote another activity where, to keep your active. So we include mandala sheets, crossword puzzles, and a tea bag so that they can enjoy caffeine-free tea, whether they either read their book or do their other activities. They don't have to report back to us. They don't have to meet over Zoom or anything. It's just, an asynchronous activity. And so far, we have like about 25 people that have requested, expressed interest in this club. One of our signature events is a family night. A family night usually draws a couple hundred people into the library, something that we can no longer do. So we decided to take it obviously virtual. The next one is going to be a Halloween family night, and we're pairing up with the Calexico Police Department. Calexico police officers will be reading to kids over Zoom. We're going to have prepare a packet with a craft activity, a free book, some candies. This is an activity for kids ages 0 to 12. So we have a pre-registration date, and then we have a week where they can come and pick up a packet. We had a Mexican Independence Day family night last month, and it went pretty well. And last but not least, some of the grant-funded services that are available through our local library. Once again, we got awarded the California Library Literacy Services grant. This grant allows us to provide adult literacy services. So we recruit volunteer tutors to teach someone to improve their English reading and writing skills. This was a one-on-one tutoring session. Obviously, we cannot meet one-on-one, so it's done virtually. So many of our existing tutors, they jumped the Zoom wagon and they decided, well, yes, I want to continue helping my learner. So they continue to meet. We started kind of a partnership with San Diego State. One of the teachers there, instructors, has been sending us her students to be tutors. So that program continues to work. The SIP Books grant, a wonderful state-funded grant. This seems, since because of what's happening, the state obviously is hurt. They have decided not to fund the SIP Books program for the next fiscal year, but at least this year and up until June 30th, we should have funds until we access the funds for SIP Books. So SIP Books it's a program where if you don't have to leave home, you just need to have a library card, request a book or an audio book. We buy it and send it directly to your house. And you have 4 weeks to read it or listen to it, and then you bring it back to the library. Hoopla is another electronic option where you can read if you like reading electronic books or you like listening to audiobooks. There's TV shows, there is music, and it's free. You can check out up to 8 items per month. And every month you can obviously check up to 8 items. And last, the latest one that we've acquired is BrainFuse Job Now and Bed Now. This is a wonderful online site that allows you to, let's say, you're looking for a job and you need to polish your resume. So there's someone that can help you do that. It's free. Or maybe you have an interview in a long time and you need a coach to help you in the interview skills. Or maybe you just completed your service in the military, and then you need to transfer your military skills into civilian ones. So then someone there can help you. All that is free, thanks to funds by the California State Library. That's it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the support. Do you guys have any questions?
How much is a library card?
It's free.
Free?
It's free. It's good for 3 years. Yes, it's free.
I need $1.50.
Maybe you also
I need a refund.
I'm sorry, Mr. Garcia.
No, just going back to the job and
The BrainFuse?
Job readiness.
Uh-huh.
How long have you had that available? Or you just started?
We just started maybe like about 2 weeks now, I will say.
Okay, so just fairly
Yes.
new. The reason why I bring that up is because there's some other services through the agency that I work for.
Okay.
8 to 5 and sometimes after that. But
Uh-huh.
I think there's I would love to see that just to make sure that, we might be able to bring other resources.
Mm-hmm.
And just to see also what's the response, what's the response to that, and maybe again enhancing and just leveraging some of the resources and maybe some of that talent that exists out there in helping out. This is virtually,
Mhm.
but there is also hopefully once we get back into, going back to opening our doors,
Yes.
where there can be that one-on-one assistance on job readiness and resume preparation, mock interviews, job search, online application completion, all
Yes.
of that it's going to be very important, you know, as we go back and people go back into the job market. So both for you know, job seekers and even businesses. So we'll talk about
Okay.
that later on. So
Certainly.
very
Thank you.
interested in that. Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you.
New River Improvement Project Status Update Presentation by City Manager Figueroa.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Council, members of our community that are following us virtually, staff members. I've been keeping you guys abreast of the progress that we're doing right now as a result of the state of California having $18 million included in our fiscal year 2020-2021 budget for the New River Improvement Project, along with the $10 million from Prop 68, that totals $28 million moving forward. So let me give you a brief recap of where we're at. The focus of the money that has been secured is to build the three components that are in this slide: the trash screen diversion structure, the bypass encasement, and the pump back system, the force main. Pretty much what we're looking at right now is making sure that we have, one, the understanding among all the stakeholders. By stakeholders, I mean the state agencies and the local stakeholders here, which is the County of Imperial, the IID, and the City of Calexico, all on the same page. Why? Because right now, we have a very, very good opportunity in our hands. An opportunity that we've been working on for many years to make sure that we begin to have the community not only engaged, but also see the benefits of the work that's been put in for the past 15, 20 years. So a lot of the heavy lifting, like I said, has been done at the local level. Back in 2017, the IID, the county, and the city decided to embark on an MOU where we would be sharing the responsibilities, amongst other things, the O&M for one of the components that I brought up right now in my previous slide, and that is the trash screen operation that's going to be situated here south of the 2nd Street Bridge. So in order to finish the good work on the preliminary engineering and planning that Michael Baker International did per a contract that was commissioned by the Regional Water Quality Control Board, Region 7, the Colorado River Basin Office, the city said, we are gonna finish what Michael Baker cannot finish. Why? Because there has to be a lead agency. And the city took it upon itself to be the lead agency and finish the CEQA work. So what you have here in this matrix is indeed what we did as a city to complete this. We drafted a draft mitigated negative declaration. We processed and went through the consultation process per AB 52 that we're mandated to follow. We went through the proper protocols of making sure that we disclosed this information to the public. At different points in the past year, this body took action on items related to us finishing CEQA. On June 17th, 2020, this City Council adopted the final mitigative negative declaration. In other words, the environmental requirement to carry on with the 3 infrastructure projects that are going to be built out here in Calexico. As a result of that, we filed the notice of determination with the county clerk and the state clearinghouse. This was done on June 23rd, 2020. After that, we went through a public appeal period of 30 days, which concluded on July 23rd. No appeals were received. No appeals were received. I do want to point out that no appeals were received in part because we went through an inclusive process where we engaged community, stakeholders at the state and federal level, so everybody could be informed of the work that was being done and at the same time be able to contribute their comments and their experience into the work that was being done by Michael Baker International. I do want to point out that the biggest reason as to why the trust was placed on the city by the state and the local stakeholders to do this job is because we already had gone through a similar process for our Parkway project, which complements what we're talking about today. And as a result of that, we have staff members currently right now, our public works manager that has experience. We were able to also get involved using our prior work experience as well, and we were able to pull through. I want to recognize the Development Services Department for also playing a key role in making sure that we met all the deadlines and all the points to finish CEQA. So what's next? We need to secure regulatory permits from 3 agencies: the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, the Regional Water Quality Control Board, Region 7, and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Again, what's our advantage? Our advantage is that these agencies were part of the CEQA process that the city went through to finish and be at a point where we can seek the permits now. So at this point, nobody's going to be blindsided. Everybody understands every step that we've taken and where we're at. At the same time, I do want to use again the example of us going through the similar process for the Parkway project, in which these agencies were involved in that project as well. So at this point right now, even though there may have been turnover in staff at the agencies, there is still the anecdotal history within the agencies of the work that's been done for several years, which just makes it easier for us as the lead agency that's working with the state to secure the permits. This slide right here is something that a lot of people always ask. So what's the cost? Where is the money going? This is part of the work that was done by Michael Baker International, and it's very important that we disseminate to the community. So here you have the 3 construction items that I've been referencing that are going to be built out in the Calexico Reach, as we call it, per the strategic plan. As you can see, if we round out numbers, the number very much comes close to the $28 million that were secured through the state of California. That is where that number came from. We were able to secure the money because we knew exactly how much each of the components was going to cost. Not only that, but if you look at the fine print on the bottom of the slide, these numbers consider a 30% contingency. Why is that? Because as we know, there are always extraordinary items that come up that will either make a project happen or break a project from not happening. That is why that number is being factored in. And a lot of that also has to contribute to the need of having a project manager, making sure that we go through the proper procurement process to make sure that there's a check and balance system in terms of the expenditures for this project. So this is what we have today. We have 100% design project complete. In other words, we were already given the final document by Michael Baker International on all the specs and requirements for the project. Let's get into the specifics. We have a technical specification sheet that's completed. We have a geotechnical report that's done. What we know as the CFD report, which is the computational fluid dynamics report, the hydraulics report. What I've done is that I've provided a copy of all these documents to the IID and the County of Imperial. Why? I need to make sure that my local partners have the same information that we have. They place the trust on us to be the lead agency. They need to be kept abreast. What I'm doing right now is making sure that the funding agency is going to be the Department of Water Resource. So as the city, once again being the lead agency, we're going to be entering into what's called a funding agreement with DWR. The funding agreement pinpoints specifically everything from A to Z that we're going to have to do to build out the 3 components that I referenced right now in my presentation. With that in mind, we are working right now to complete that funding agreement. That funding agreement is going to have to go through an approval process through this body, in which in the very near future I'm going to be bringing a resolution where all this is sorted out. We have a very ambitious goal that we want to complete this funding agreement through all the approval process by the end of calendar year 2020. Why is that? Technically, we have until March 31st to do this. We don't want to wait. We want to do it sooner. Why? Because we already have a very good understanding of how long it's going to take us to secure the rec permits. As soon as we have rec permits, we can begin construction. We have a timeline as to how long it's going to take for the project to be completed from the day construction begins. So what we're all, everybody, Assemblyman Garcia's office, IID, county, DWR, Cali PA, Salt Sea Authority, what all of us are very interested to know is what that timeline is going to look. Once we have a defined timeline, we can know precisely when our project is going to be completed. At the same time, we're making sure that we incorporate the community-based organizations here in the Valley so they can be the conduit to share all this information in a public setting to our community. That concludes my update. I don't know, Mayor, council members, if there's any questions, I'll be happy to address them.
You got your shovel ready? Vámonos.
Yeah.
So probably not related to this, but also, what, and I know that Supervisor Escobar is here also. I know we had one issue with the sewage discharge from the city of Mexicali. We were, told in advance. So how are we addressing that, or are we doing something about that? Here at the city, well, we just get the information, and the county also gets the same information. But is there something being done about that?
So let me share something with you. Since we received that notice, several stakeholders at the county shared not only their concern, but more than that, we asked for some answers in terms of not only the impact that it would have on the flow of the river, but on top of that, what levels of contaminants were going to be discharged. To this day, the IBWC US section has been doing a diligent work in making sure that they stay on top of the request that was done to the Mexican authorities. The work is being done so we can get that information. But what I can share with you, and it even was put out in media outlets, is that there's obviously a discomfort in 2020 still seeing that some of the commendable efforts to clean up the infrastructure in Mexicali is still affecting us through the bypasses that occur. Where at the end of the day, I was sharing this with someone the other day, this is kind of like a deja vu to 2006 for me. It's, okay, we were talking about it back then, even prior to that, and here we are, 15 years later, still dealing with this. The county has taken a leadership role in recommending additional projects that can address this situation on the U.S. side, and that's where we're banking our efforts right now. We're working through the policy side at the state and federal level, that those projects can be considered as part of our plan to make sure that we counter those situations.
Thank you. Thank you, Miguel. Announcements.
These proceedings may be viewed on the City of Calexico website at www.calexico.ca.gov the Friday following the City Council meeting. Community office hours with Mayor Ariola Fernandez are suspended until further notice due to coronavirus COVID-19.
Public comments.
This is the time for the public to address the City Council on any item not appearing on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. During the current state of emergency, public comments submitted via email by the 4 p.m. deadline of October 7, 2020, will be read aloud and entered into the record. Any comments received during or after the meeting will be distributed to the City Council and retained for the official record. The City Council is prohibited by state law from taking action or discussing items not included on the printed agenda. I have several comments, ma'am.
Okay.
This comment is from Mr. Gilberto Manzanares, and he states, "Hello, I am asking once again for one of the candidates to address the issue of campaign signs misleading the public. Morris Risen's campaign signs are very clearly say, re-elect. 1 month ago, we brought up this issue and have seen attempts to fix it. However, it mostly has been on the small yard signs where they have placed a blue sticker over the RE part. However, as of October 3rd, the biggest and most visible signs still in effect have the misleading words on them, as well as many medium and large-sized campaign signs all over Calexico. This is the wrong and incredibly misleading to the people of Calexico. We have submitted a complaint with the California Fair Political Practices Commission for false or misleading campaign materials. We also have contacted the county district attorney regarding this matter. It is also notable that the name of the committee for Mr. Risen is called the Committee to Re-elect Morris Risen, which most likely also violates campaign laws. I am having a difficult time understanding how this even happens. There was a clear intent in misleading the people. I hope this matter is resolved as soon as possible." Mr. Raul Ureña. "Hello, City Council. For the public record, I will remind the City Council that I have now communicated with you for the third time regarding potential violations of the Brown Act, a misuse of executive order powers to limit direct public participation during the critical months during the pandemic. I do this time via email. Please forward it to your city attorney. I have communicated this to the city manager and to the district attorney, Otero. Cowardice continues on full display with the council not letting use our voice to comment on public matters despite having all the technology capacity to do so safely during this pandemic. La cobardía de este consejo al no dejarnos participar directamente con la voz continúa a pesar las advertencias que he comunicado. I don't expect much of Otero since he was the one that let Rosie off with a sweetheart deal on her license. What was offensive was that there was not her very drunk driving, but her favorable treatment under the eyes of the law. Lo feo del incidente de Rosie no fue el manejar bajo la influencia fuerte del alcohol, ni su falta de preocupación por la seguridad pública. No, lo más ofensivo era la impunidad que se vio cuando el señor Otero le dio un tratamiento favorable ante la ley. I have brought up this issue in public comments before and have been ignored. I am offended at the use of the coronavirus executive order to limit public participation in critical time, the cancellation of mayor and council member of ours, prohibition of oral comments, which is what this letter is about. Also making note, this is a city that uses translators and we are a bilingual city. During COVID, the city has chosen not to have our clerk translate so she can instead read written comments. Government Code Section 54954.3 says that we have to give double time in public comments to those speakers during a translation to communicate with council. I have not seen this law observed even before COVID. I would like to see translation resumed through the digital means and the Government Code Section 54954.3 observed. Government Code Section 54954.3 can be found, and he provides a long link, and also provides a link for Government Executive Order N29-20. He would like us to fix the issues in anticipation of the next regular council meeting of October 7th. Ismael Arbizu. Good afternoon. This is a very personal time of mine. Every day I wake up and see the quiet neighborhood my family lives in, my grandmother across the street from us. With these tough times, we don't get to visit them. The fact is that they're so close, but we can't go eat with them anymore because of some virus going around. Point is, they recently installed a stop sign by the corner from where we live. The stop sign came with the bumps installed on Rancho Frontera and Holdridge. Apparently, someone hit and ran the stop and ran into the house in the corner. I don't understand why a whole neighborhood has to suffer for the rest of their time living there. Someone tell me how many times have people crashed into that house? Did they ask for it? Did the city do it to make it seem like something was done, or just so the lady can do it again and not hit the Mini Cooper and the mini palm trees? Why? Because of the bumps that, one, people swerve around, making things worse, with later created more bump extensions to make people not do it, but they still do because they're dumb. And two, people now turn to the street we live in and floor it. And since it's an empty, it parasites. In reality, it's the new shortcut to parasitize. There's going to be a car crash because this, and I don't want any neighbor of mine to die because of some stupid bumps and stop. Take them off and put them on Rosie Street. It's not fair for us to live through her mistakes. So since we're on the topic of stops, I'm still not done. The stop on Rancho Frontera passing the apartment for the elderly. It's useless. People pass it 1/3 of the time. Either a Mexicali roll or just slow pass, like if it said slow zone. What's pissing me off the most are the cops that I've seen pass the stop, and nothing like the citizens do it. This cop floors it, and it seems that he does it just to show how useless the stop is. I've seen them do it twice. I just don't get it. Why don't we just take the stop off? You're putting a Band-Aid over a gun wound. So no cop, no stop. More like no stop, and that's it. So apparently you guys have to have some kind of phone or Zoom for us to call and hear our voices. It's against the law to just have us typing emails. Change it for the next meeting. There could be consequences. Thank you, Ismael Arvizo. Chris Chai, Honorable City Council, elected officials. My name is Chris Chai. I am writing this to express my strong opposition to State Measure 16. State Measure 16 uses race to judge the qualifications of applicants to universities, to jobs, etc. This is a textbook definition of racism and pure and simple. If it is passed, how far will we slide down the slippery, dangerous slope? What's next? Set racial quota for elected positions? Set racial quota for NBA and NFL? Set racial quota for TV anchors? Set racial quota for movies and songs? Please join us and vote no against State Measure 16. That is all, ma'am.
Thank you. Now we're going on to City Manager's report. Yes. Oh, sure, I'm sorry.
Good question.
Me bloqueaste para que no me cayera.
Thank you. You.
Good afternoon. Couple quick comments. I gave you a copy of a letter that was sent from the office of our Representative Vargas, our congressman. This was already obviously precipitated by some comments made at the previous Board of Supervisors meeting about renaming the new river the Vargas River. Obviously that didn't stand well, and this is the response. Obviously it talks about cooperation, but it does ask some open-ended questions. At the end of the day, I'm sharing this with you. I'm 47 years old. I can remember back to my 8, 9, 10-year-old days. The new river was already an issue. It came out in 60 minutes. Everybody knew about it. I mean, everybody knew it was the most polluted river in the United States. That's not a secret. I'm 47 now, no longer 7 or 17 or 27, etc. A lot of people can relate because a lot of people are from Calexico. We've tried being very cooperative. We tried being open. We tried being very diplomatic. Have we seen any results from a federal perspective? The answer is no. The straw that broke the camel's back is the $300 million that was allocated to the Tijuana River through the USMCA, or NAFTA 2.1, which is what I call it. $300 million. How much came to the New River? Zero. How much was allocated to the Tijuana River? $300 million. Now, in all fairness, is this or Representative Vargas' fault? No. But again, we need to have results when it comes to New River. I should point out, and kudos to our Representative Eduardo Garcia, who fought for the $28 million. Kudos to the vision and leadership of our city manager, Miguel Figueroa, who's taking the bull by the horns and getting this done in a very, very expeditious manner. So thank you to the state, and thank you to Mr. Figueroa and staff, because he's not working alone. But at the end of the day, this is a federal issue. This is an international issue that's been going on for decades. Not months, not years, decades. And a perfect example is the recent spill. Now, can we control what happens in another country? The answer is no. We do control what happens in our country. We do have the possibility of creating or constructing a, help me out with the word here. You said you had it on your cleaning facility, but it's not wastewater or treatment facility. We have the possibility of constructing a wastewater treatment facility here in the United States in Imperial County, but we need federal funding for it. And we need federal funding, not just for the construction, but obviously for the maintenance for it. And that's what the County Board of Supervisors will be pushing for. That's going to be one of the responses to this letter, that we need support and funding. Because when you talk about support, where's the money? We're not going to do anything without money. We need funding, not just for the construction. It's going to cost millions of dollars to maintain this facility, and we need their support as well. So again, that is going to be our response, but I wanted to give you a letter, and I'm hoping obviously for your full support as well, because this affects directly Calexico, but Imperial County as a whole. On a separate matter, I'm having a meeting with pioneers. I've already invited our city manager, Mr. Figueroa. I was unaware until a couple weeks ago that we did not have an urgent care facility in Calexico Saturdays or Sundays. I thought it was a Monday through Friday 24/7 type of situation. As it turns out, it's not. Pioneers Memorial Hospital built a Taj Mahal for Calexico. And grand opening was, I believe, February of 2020. It is staffed at roughly 30%, unfortunately. They're using roughly 30% of the rooms, and they're not opening on weekends. So again, whether it's with them or somebody else, at the end of the day, I understand fully, and as well as you, I mean, you're in the medical profession, you know we're not going to get a hospital here. That's a foregone conclusion. But what we do need is urgent care. Yes. And we don't have it. So again, that is a very important meeting through Zoom that hopefully Mr. Figueroa and I will be attending on Friday. And again, we will be updating you as this develops. But again, this is of utmost importance for our Calexico community to have urgent care 24/7. Right now, we do not. Thank you, and I apologize for getting emotional, but the New River kind of gets the best of me sometimes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor.
Madam Mayor, I'll be brief on my city manager's report.
Okay.
I do want to provide an update to our community, our residents and our business community that are following us right now. I'm happy to say that in a week's time, we exhausted the monies that this council approved for the Calexico COVID-19 Business Stabilization Program. We went through an intake process that was done in the form of appointments with our staff. As we noted in our guidelines, in order for this program to be of help, every applicant had to meet all the requirements that we included in our guidelines. With that said, I'm happy to share that we have issued a letter informing those applicants that within a week's time we're going to be providing them a response. So with that said, it was an acknowledgement letter, and I had a conversation today with our finance director, and again, through an appointment system, we're going to be contacting the applicants, and we're going to be issuing the checks between October 13th, beginning October 13th, and concluding October 15th. So next week, from Tuesday to Thursday, all the applicants will be contacted, and we will be doing the issuance of the check.
Thank you. Good news.
On a second item, our city clerk asked me to share that the county election office has 2 representatives, Monday through Friday from 8 to 5, here in the premises of City Hall. So we want to advocate our community, let them know that they can come, drop off their ballot if they so wish. Representatives from the elections office are here in the premises of City Hall, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Thank you.
Thank you.
At this moment right now, Madam Mayor, our city attorney will come forward to make a statement.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I just want to address a comment received during public comment, and we've received it in the past regarding how public comments are taken here at the City of Calexico. Just want to clarify that the Executive Order, the Brown Act, is not exactly clear on how that to occur, and because of that, just says we need to take comments for the public. How we do so does not specify in Executive Order at all whatsoever. However, with that said, in order to just mitigate the issue going forward, we will allow for public comments to be made during the actual meeting, and we're working on what the best mechanism to do so, but just wanted to inform the public and the council that going forward we will allow for live public comments to be made during the actual meeting and not have to be submitted prior to the meeting by email. Any questions or comments?
So what you're saying is they're going to be able to make their public comments via Zoom or
we haven't, we're looking at a couple options, but the comments will be made during the actual meeting as opposed to having to submit them by email prior to the start of the meeting. And we'll be working with the city clerk on that.
But it's been clear we're not violating any law.
Correct.
We're in with the code.
Correct. And even the ACLU has issued some letters, but even the ACLU is looking for clarification from the governor to clarify that. The executive order provides that there needs to be an opportunity for public comments to be made at a meeting. How that's done doesn't specify. So, well, like I said, while the law is not specify that, I think just going forward, just to address the issue and just mitigate it, just might make sense to go and provide for the public comments to be made during the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, reports of City Council comments and reports. My right side, Pro Tem, Mr. Rice. Do you have anything?
I don't have any comments at this point, except for the comment that we heard about my signs.
Yes.
I think I should address the attorney or
The mic. The mic.
oh. I think we should address the attorney or we address Miguel on the sign on my signs that there were the comment that we had today.
Yeah, it's not a matter for city business. Maybe in terms of
Because I was waiting.
yeah, those items are items that the city, as you know, the city is the city clerk and the election official for the city, and obviously we receive different complaints and comments throughout. To the extent we have obligation to respond, we do so. In terms of the item regarding the re-election, that's an issue that the city does not get involved in. That's an issue more to be dealt with amongst the different, individuals who are running for office or have concerns with that. But that's not an area that, by a city, we get involved in. Correct.
Well, that should clarify there.
as I understand, Mrs. Garcia did look into it, and I did give a response to that. Mr., what's his name, Manjarares? Ureña, or both, on that issue. Thank you.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Correct. It's just, yeah, so recognize when we receive these items, we review them, and like I said, the city clerk is a local election official and should work with our office to see whether or not we have an obligation or a duty to respond. On some items we do, and we have that obligation. On items that are between the individuals themselves, that the city doesn't become involved in those issues. And we do provide a comment to the individuals who do make those comments to the city.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Pacheco?
No, nothing for the, no, I have nothing. Kind of quiet.
Councilman Garcia?
I just wanted to report that since I'm the newbie here, I just started attending via Zoom the League of California Cities, annual conference. I gotta tell you that it's a very good, conference, so far. This is the first, actually this was the first day. So lots of good, best practices from other cities, working through this pandemic, attending to the city's, the citizens' needs. So something to look forward in the next few days. I think there's two more days remaining. So just to attend, very, very good information. It is my understanding that the content will be available for the next 6 months.
Yes.
So for the council to view those events, those sessions. So lots and lots of good best practices throughout. Cities that kind of like look like our city and have gone through the same things that we have gone through. So great information. Then also as far as the elections, well, again, please all the citizens go out. This is your time to express your opinion, your vote. Stated, we have the officials here outside, county officials. Also, there's some. It is my understanding that at every city hall, in the cities throughout the county, there are officials receiving your votes. Also at the county administration building, north side entrance by the health department, there's also staff there, Monday through Friday from, I don't recall, but I'll get that information and share it with you so it's available. Again, get out and go early. Don't wait until last minute. So thank you. That's my comment.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Mr. Hutt, Councilman?
Yes, I just attended the Imperial County Transportation Commission meeting in the third Wednesday in September. And there are 3 projects concerning Calexico that ICTC is developing. And I just like to briefly talk about them or read them. Well, number 1 is the Calexico Eastport of Entry Bridge Widening Project. The project proposes to widen the bridge over the All-American Canal at the U.S.-Mexico border, approximately 0.7 miles south of State Route SR7. The project proposes to widen the existing structure by adding 4 lanes, 2 northbound auto lanes, and 2 new northbound commercial vehicle lanes. So we have that in the works. The next one is funding for Phase 2 of the Calexico Westport of Entry. Funding for Phase 1 was $98 million, and that's been completed. And Phase 2 is broken into Phase 2A and Phase 2B. Phase 2A was awarded in the amount of $191 million and will include 6 additional northbound privately owned vehicle, POV, inspection lanes, permanent southbound POV inspection, expanded secondary inspection, and adding a pre-primary canopy, new administration building. Now, work for Phase 2B will include demolition of the old port building and construction of the new pedestrian building. The total estimate cost for Phases 2A plus 2B are $276 million. And last, we still have in the works the Calexico Intermodal Transportation Center. The new Intermodal Transportation Center in the city of Calexico has been part of ICTC's long-range transit planning. The new Calexico ITC will serve as a regional mobility hub that will accommodate bus bays for Imperial Valley Transit, in addition to the city of Calexico's private transit operators, taxis, and farm labor buses. ICTC received a congestion mitigation and air quality federal program fund to complete the environmental and design plans of the new Calexico ITC. ICTC staff is in the process of completing the contract award for a consultant firm that will complete the environmental and design phase. Thank you.
And I don't have anything at this time. Okay, moving on. Consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda, items number 9 and 10.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Mayor Arreola Fernandez,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryson, Councilmember Pacheco,
Aye.
Councilmember Garcia, Councilmember Hodge.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Okay, item, discussion and potential action items. Item 11, resolution of the City of Calexico accepting the State of California Citizens Option for Public Safety, COPS funds for fiscal year 2018, 2019, $63,335.79, and for year 2019, 2020, $96,954.58 for a total of $160,290.37 additional funding. Miguel?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I do want to point out for the record, on your staff report, on the first sentence of the background section, I do want to report that there is an error. The right number should be 18 and a half years. It's spelled out 17, it should be 18 and a half. So I just want to make sure that we are clear on that. So the State of California Citizens Option for Public Safety Program, what we better know as the COPS program, these are funds that get distributed through the County of Imperial. As it is noted, and as you've read, Madam Mayor, in the subject line of this item, the total that is available through this COPS program in present time is $160,000. At this moment right now, we understand that given that this amount of money fluctuates from year to year, it is not recommended that we look at it as an option for salary and benefits to bring in new people. However, one of the allowed uses for these funds, as it's noted here in your staff report, is equipment, training, among other things. At this point right now, conversations between the police chief and I, we've identified that there's a need for equipment for our police officers. What we're looking at doing right now is making sure that if this item does get accepted and adopted by the council, this will give our finance director the possibility to incorporate this into our budget as an added fund. So with that in mind, let's not forget that next meeting, which is going to be October 21st, we're going to be having our first quarter budget review. At that time, this is an item that we will be brought forth to you so it can be included as part of our budget analysis. With that said, I'll pass on the microphone to our police chief so he can complement the item.
Okay, thank you. Item 12, discussion and potential action items. Item 13, resolution of the City of Calexico accepting the State of California Citizens Option for Public Safety, COPS funds for fiscal year 2018, 2019, $63,335.79, and for year 2020, $96,954.58 for a total of $160,290.37 additional funding.
Thank you very much, Mr. Figueroa. Again, this money, like I stated in the report, and I did make a typo there, we've received it for the last 18 and a half years. They're on the 17, the first year, the 18-19, I'm sorry, there was an overage, and that's why there's a little bit more money there. So the way that this grant works, it depends on how much money the state receives. It can be either $100,000 a year, or a little bit less, or a little bit more. So if we draw down this money, it'll be $160,290.37. Next year, around the same time, we're going to try to do it right before the fiscal year. That way, we can get back on track to drawing it down and getting this resolution passed for the new fiscal year coming up. So this money will be used, hopefully, once if it passes through, to get needed equipment that we need, and you will have some action items, probably one action item next city council meeting regarding this. And it's all safety equipment and stuff that we need. There's a mandate that we have. It's not going to go anywhere as a slush fund for us to buy things we don't need. This is for equipment that we need in order to do our jobs and keep our officers safe. That's it.
Chief, so are we saying that it's only for equipment, we can't use the money to hire or for salaries?
No. So in the past, you can do to hire, but right now, we do, like I said last meeting, we do have 5 officers on FTO right now. Actually, matter of fact, starting next week will be 4 officers because 1 officer just passed his FTO phase. So he will be a patrol officer on his own now, so he's counting on his own. And the other people are moving along very well. So like I said, hopefully by December we'll have 5 more. We do have some openings, just we don't have any candidates ready to go. Okay. And that's, like I said, it's a shortage statewide. It's not like a unique problem for Calexico. It's nationwide. But it's very important you understand is that if my officers, if I have 100 officers and I have no bulletproof vest for them, the liability on the city right now with everything that's going on in the world and officers being shot at other cities, we don't want to take that risk as a city not to give them their equipment that they must have. Bulletproof vest right now is my top priority. Okay. We need to get everybody fitted. Whoever need, and then not everybody's going to get it because we have people that were given new vests last year. So only the people that need a vest. These vests are good for 5 years, but we like replacing them every 4 years because of the weather conditions that we have. So the lifespan of the vest, bulletproof vest, will change. And that's just an example. There's more safety equipment that I would like to buy, and training. Same thing with training.
Okay.
All right.
I understand. Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve this item.
Do I have a second? Okay, Gabby?
Mayor Adriola Fernandez?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryson?
Aye.
Councilmember Pacheco?
Aye.
Councilmember Garcia?
Aye.
Councilmember Hodge?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
On to item 12, approval and adoption of environmental service worker job description, irrelevant salary range.
As it's an item that I brought to your attention at the last city council meeting. We're delivering now the item. It's what I call one of the biggest needs that we have to complement the work that's needed in the downtown area. And by that I mean the area that expands from Heffernan all the way to Emerson on the other side of Imperial, between 1st Street and 4th Street. One of the things that I want to commend our HR manager and our finance director for working together in putting this job description together, in terms of, one, making sure that the funds to cover this job description are we're accountable for. And one, I do also want to point out a couple of items within your staff report. On page 1, you have there on your second line on background, that number should read 60,000. On your second sheet on the fiscal impact, the number should not exceed 70,000. And the reason for that is because as part of the contract that we have with Republic Services, there is funding to cover for this particular staff member that we're looking to bring on board. Again, it's a hybrid. Our HR manager did a very good job in pulling and creating this job description because we need to specifically address the need that we have. We have cleaning services that we need to complement from what Republic does, and we also need to solidify our code enforcement work in that particular area. At this point right now, we have 2 code enforcement officers that are going throughout the city. So at this point right now, that would alleviate our 2 code enforcement officers from having to look into the downtown area that I pinpointed right now in my presentation. With that in mind, it's very important that we understand that over Saturdays and Sundays, we hear our community rightfully bring to our attention that there may be some trash, some debris out there. Well, what we're going to try to do is make sure that we address those things by having someone specifically for that portion of our city that's going to be working a schedule where we avoid seeing some of this contamination, and at the same time helping bridge the communication with our local merchants in downtown, which is also something that we need to do. This would be an employee, a staff member, that would be supervised by our Public Works Department. So in a nutshell, this is what we bring to you. Again, we've talked about it at length. We're just formalizing the request in this job description.
Strictly for downtown.
For the area, yes, Mr. Pacheco, that I referenced right now. The beauty of this is also, and as needed, support can be provided to other extraordinary circumstances that we or my department heads may need this person for. Priority is for the area that I mentioned.
So there's flexibility.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Republic. Thank you, Republic.
You said Heffernan was from Heber. From Heber to Emerson, is that correct?
Heffernan to Emerson between 1st and 4th.
Not Heber.
No, I understand. No, it's no. Yes. I take that back. Heber to Emerson between 1st and 4th.
Do you have a motion?
Make a motion to approve this item.
I'll second it.
Mayor Rola Fernandez.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryson.
Aye.
Councilmember Pacheco.
Aye.
Councilmember Garcia.
Aye.
Councilmember Hodge.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Now moving on to item 13, authorize city manager to sign the revised and reinstated professional service agreement with Landmark Consultants Industry to provide additional construction materials testing and special inspection services for the new Calexico Fire Station headquarters for additional sum of $53,154.
Yes, Madam Mayor. I do want to point out and reference one of the backup documents, and I'm specifically pointing to item number 3, which is the agreement dated February 20 of 2019 with Landmark for geotechnical engineering services related to the fire station project. I do want to point out because it's important that it be clear that what we're looking at right now is amending such agreement to incorporate the specific items that are listed in this staff report. At the time when the initial agreement was signed with Landmark, our previous city manager did the due diligence to secure and put out the intent of these services to be commissioned by the city. As a result of that work, 2 proposals were received from which Landmark was the one that was signed into agreement. Moving forward to present time, at this moment right now, for the needs of the project that are specified in the staff report, we are bringing this item to your attention prior to the review and recommendation also of our city attorney, so we consider amending such agreement so we can move forward in incorporating these important services to the fire station project. If there are no comments, I would actually want to bring up right now our fire chief, Diego Favila, so he can complement my presentation with the status update on the work that's being done right now at the fire station. So the community can also be aware of how that project is moving forward.
Thank you, City Manager. Honorable City Council, to be able to be up here today and at this point in our project, it brings me great joy. And also, the process that we're doing at the station also brings me great joy, because it's been a project that we've been trying to do for many years now, and it seems now we got the ball rolling. It may not look like it from the street side, because I think the majority of the people want to see the walls come down and the walls to be erected, correct? That's what the big thing is. And that is shortly happening soon. There's these steps that need to follow, like this one for tonight, is to test the steel. The steel has to meet a certain criteria, it needs to be met. The soil needs to be met, the concrete. So there's a bunch of things that come into this environmental geotechnical work. So what has been done at the fire station? So we've eliminated all the electricity, all the wires. Remember, our fire station is housed with the police department, and we share a dispatch center. So over the years, we've had a lot of communication lines, technology lines, service lines that were connected to our building that now just service the police department. So basically, it's this big knot of wires, and we're having to untie them all. So that's kind of what's been on the slow portion that the community does not see. What the community will see is we've removed a couple of trees. These trees were hopefully going to be saved and multi-purposed on either this same project or another at the other station. Unfortunately, they were not salvageable, so we didn't get to keep those. But be in mind that we did try for those. Okay, so the trees will be missing. There's a couple of poles that had to be erected that you'll see on the outside, and that's just for the antenna for the radio. Again, those wires were being guided to our fire station, and we cannot leave the antenna without a support. So they'll see the poles that are up there right now. They'll see the fencing, and shortly, if this item passes tonight, it could be as soon as a week to 2 weeks that we can probably start seeing some dust clouds coming from over there. Any specific questions on this? I'm just on the update. Nothing at all? Any questions on the item? No? Okay. Thank you.
The only thing I want to do is I want to comment you on the Burger King. You're finally getting it down.
Yes, yes.
That's kind of that.
Yes.
That was a nice order.
Yeah, for sure. And we want to obviously, thank you to the property owners, because there is property owners in the city who do want to do right, and this is obviously a perfect example of what needs to happen once your property has been damaged.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief, this is an unrelated question or comment. I know that not trying to get into your job, but at least for the last a few weeks, there has been a few calls out to that home that is behind that, close to the movie theater or that hotel right there.
Oh, yeah.
So, anything with that, any type of mitigation, any type of, how can we just deal with that, because if it is not the palm trees, it's the structure, it's just a lot of activity down there.
Yeah, most definitely. That is a black eye for us, and it's a misfortune for the property owners. Mind you that there is an ongoing investigation, so I can't really say too much about this in regards to it, other than just be worried that we are doing everything we need to do on our end, on the city's end, to obviously protect the neighbors in that area, and obviously to protect the property owner's property. So other than that, just like I said, just be mindful that we are trying our hardest, our best. It is under investigation, and then eventually we can hopefully come up with more information for this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
Okay, so do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Mayor Arreola Fernandez.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryson.
Aye.
Councilmember Pacheco.
Aye.
Councilmember Garcia.
Aye.
Councilmember Hodge.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Moving on to item 14, authorize city manager to sign revised construction agreement between the city of Calexico and Hazard Construction Company for street improvement project, asphalt, rubber, composite layer overlay on designated streets project number 2020-500.
On September 2nd, Madam Mayor and council members, this item was approved by City Council. Our Public Works Manager, Ms. Falomir, did a presentation along with myself on the item. We gave specifics. Councilman Hodge specifically had a recommendation in terms of how he wanted periodic updates on the progress of this project. As a result of that day, on September 4th, our Public Works staff informed Hazard Construction that they were recipients of the award through the approval of City Council. When we informed them on September 23rd, they came back to us and let us know that there was something that we had to address. Specifically, that was on September 14th. On September 23rd, between their legal firm and BBK, we were able to pinpoint some specific language that had to be addressed. In other words, language that we had to do, specifically with specific items related to some of the damages and how those things would be addressed if we were to encounter those situations during the span of the project. All that has been sorted out, and at this time right now, what we want to share with you is that, one, the project has not started because we need to get past this hurdle. At this point right now, our law firm, BBK, and the legal counsel for the company agree on the language as it's stated right now. So we're seeking your approval on the modified language for the agreement. Just a straightforward item.
Yeah. Well,
A motion?
I'll make a motion
Do I have a second?
for item
Second.
14.
Mayor Arreola Fernandez.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryson.
Aye.
Councilmember Pacheco.
Aye.
Councilmember Garcia.
Aye.
Councilmember Hodge.
Aye.
Motion passed unanimously.
Thank you. Moving on to item 15, approval of master calendar of city council meeting for fiscal year 2020-21.
We do this on an annual basis. I do want to point out that for this item that we bring forth you today, there is one change as stated in the staff report, and that is that the recommendation is that City Council does not go dark in the month of August. This past August, we ended up having a couple of special meetings. We're always ready to bring items that are deemed not only important, but that are sensitive when it comes to timelines. So we just want to make sure that we incorporate the two regular scheduled meeting dates to the month of August for 2021.
Any questions?
No.
Any comments?
Are we going to have Christmas?
I'll make a motion that we approve.
You're a good man.
Second?
Mayor Arreola Fernandez. Mayor Pro Tem Bryson.
Aye.
Councilmember Pacheco.
Aye.
Councilmember Garcia.
Aye.
Councilmember Hodge.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Now, do we have any future agenda items for next meeting? Mr. Wright? Mr.
Not
Pacheco?
at this point.
I don't know, Chief is gone, but there's been some swiping of some political signs that I put up. I just noticed. And I asked the owner, no, ahí estaba, pero he says, no, ya no está. Oh, okay, thank you. I'll be back. But other than that, and then comments that are on Facebook about money being taken by this council. I don't know if, what legal recourse we have, because to state flatly that we're corrupt and we're taking money, I don't know where he gets the amount or the basis for it, but it's just not kosher. I don't know. It just accusations basically is what they are. So I don't know if we can address it, or I don't know. I just want to bring it up. It's just, it's not true. It's just not true. This council is not taking.
Considering we never touch money anyway.
No, we don't. That's all.
I just want to take the chance again to go back to my comment about the times of voting times. You know, just to clarify, City Hall is from 8 to 5. You know, people can come in and drop off their ballots, and you know, that's the time. At the county building, it's actually from 7 to 7. So, and that is Monday through Friday, and that actually started on the 6th, October the 6th, all the way to November the 2nd. November the 3rd, on the day of election, it will be just a regular times from 7 to 8. And again, but if you can go out early, go out, you know, exercise your right to vote. De nuevo, las personas que desean votar temprano ya tienen la oportunidad, como ya van a empezar a llegar sus boletas para votar. Aquí en el City Hall y todos los City Halls de las ciudades del Valle Imperial están abiertas y están abiertas de 8 a 5 de la tarde, de lunes a viernes. En el edificio principal del condado está también otro lugar abierto para que puedan ir y dejar sus boletas ahí. Y el horario ahí es de 7 a 7 y se empezaron a recibir a partir de octubre 6 hasta noviembre 2. Y el día de la elección, que es noviembre 3, son horario regular de 7 a 8 de la noche. Entre más temprano lo hagan, mejor. El Departamento de Elecciones del Condado está recomendando de que tomen tiempo para ir. Si piensan de que van a ir y nomás en su hora de un break o algo así, de un descanso, un receso, quizá no la van a hacer. No va a haber suficiente tiempo. Entonces, permitan un poquito más de tiempo. Estamos todavía en la pandemia. Tienen que tomar sus precauciones, pero lo mejor es de que voten temprano, manden sus boletas, y muchas gracias.
Okay. I'd just like to extend a little more on what Councilman Garcia was saying. This election is extremely important. It is very pivotal, and it's probably the most important election in the modern political history. So please, ladies and gentlemen, please go out and vote. And like he said, do it early as possible. Follow the directions carefully and make your vote count, because it will count. It always does, but it's more important this time. I personally feel what is at stake is our own democracy, and it's very important to vote this time. So please do that. And don't be intimidated, don't be fearful. Just stand tall, stand strong, and go out and vote. Thank you. And nothing else.
I guess I will add on something that Mr. Pacheco, on your comment that you made about Facebook, this is kind of more of a personal comment that I'm going to make. There's a lot of things that are going in social media that they don't even have the facts straight. They don't have the information correct. And it's just like the information that Mr. Ureña just gave about my personal incident. As you all know, the district attorney's office had nothing to do with it. Everything went to the attorney general's office, just for the record. And this on social media, I just feel that I don't know where they're getting their information from, and it's just a lot of just lies because not once has these 5 people that were sitting here have been in any way have been corrupt. And and I had to say that. And thank you very much, and may everybody have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This meeting is adjourned.